Okay, the Seattle Seahawks. This is a team that really hasn't had as much um, of a hard time, even through the rebuilding phase that they had. It was a short rebuild. They definitely got their head in the game real fast, got some good draft picks, got some nice signings in there. But they still are stuck on the mid tier teams, and I know they want to get back to where they were in the early 2010s, where they were competitors, they were Super Bowl champs, they were, close to being back to back Super Bowl champs. Like they were always an issue. So they're trying to get back to being that issue. And Seattle, I think honestly, with the moves that they made and where they're at and how they're improving their team, I think they're gonna be an issue. I think the QB of the future though will have to be addressed. I think at the end of this year, they need to get a young QB that they maybe can develop if they trust in Gino one more year after this to develop this man so he can be the future of the Seattle Seahawks. But other than that, I mean, I think this is a good Seattle team. They're in a good headspace. They know what they want to do. Their manager definitely knows where they're trying to go, and obviously Seattle has always been built on run and defense. So anyway, the Seattle Seahawks, they were 9-8 last year. They did not make the playoffs. They were 5-3 at home, 4-5 away, 2-4 in the division, 364 points for and 402 that they gave up. They were 14th in passing yards with 230. They were 28th in rushing with 92.9, 17th in points for with 21.4, and 25th in points against 23.6. They gave up too many points. But again, it's a team. I think that improved. I'm ready to see their depth chart and explain to you, where they're at. This roster. Let's start with the offensive line. First of all, three wide receiver, one tight end set. Um, Yeah, first off, we got Charles Cross, young, honorable mention on the left tackle list. He's definitely a guy that can climb up to a top 10 spot just because of his ability of, well, A, he was a high draft pick, which was smart of them for Seattle. They just got a guy that's just a big bodied, pass protecting guy and can do uh, a lot of great things with the fact that he is agile and athletic for his size. So, I mean, that is a great thing to see. Left guard, they got a veteran in Lincoln Tomlinson. He's been in the league for a while. Definitely understands his job and his role as a guard and what he needs to do on an everyday basis. I think that's a good sign for them. At center, they got a great pickup in Connor Williams. I think he's also been a really reliable center for a while. He may not be the top guy, but still gets it done. Still pretty reliable. Definitely someone that obviously Seattle was eyeing to build up, which was this offensive line, which has always been a struggle bust for this team. At the right guard, they got a really young guy. I think he's got a lot of upside in Bradford. You're looking at him, and you're looking at the fact that Christian Haynes was drafted. I see Bradford definitely, if he can continue and he can honestly prove to the team, to the fans, and all that he is productive. I can see Christian Haynes moving to left, having Bradford there, and building a young offensive line that could be super reliable in the future and one of the best that's been in a long time. And at right tackle, Abraham Lucas is injured, so George Fant is going to be the right tackle. Not the best, but he's just going to do the job. That's where he's at. Next man up. So George Fant, he is a veteran. He's done this before. He's been in Seattle for a while. It's just his time to just do his job, man. It's simple as that. Um, for the QB, you still got Geno Smith there, honorable mention. You do got a guy in Sam Howell who's the backup. I don't know if he's really the answer. He's not bad though. But I do believe that they should look towards drafting someone next this coming year after this year. But I think Gino has been pretty good. He's established himself as a starter. He's really revived his career in Seattle, so good for him. I think he's not bad at all. He doesn't turn the ball over a crazy amount of times, so he's a good guy to have. And again, he has been in the playoffs, so I think he's really motivated to go back there and really showcase his talent. Running back Kenneth Walker III, he was 8 in the top 10 list. He's a great running back, elusive as hell. Definitely a guy that's hard to bring down, and just very, very exciting to watch, honestly. So I'm excited to see what Kenneth Walker does. I think he's gonna excel, especially with a better offensive line here this next year. I say he cracks he'll crack the 1,000, but he might even go further. I think he can really get like 1,300 yards, really, if they feed him the ball. At the wide receiver, I think that's one of their strengths in this team. You got DK, who's an honorable mention. He needs to be more consistent though. He cannot have inconsistent games where he just gets one catch for 3 yards. Next game he gets like nine catches for what, like 130 yards or something. Like he needs to be consistently on a consistent basis. He needs to stop getting into fights and stop being emotional. He just really just needs to stay focused on the mission. He's compared to Megatron, so he should start playing like Megatron, and he has the potential to do that. Lockett's the other guy. He's an honorable mention. He's a solid pick. I think he's a good. He's aging. He's definitely slowing down, but he's still going to be reliable. Still a great deep route kind of receiver. So Gino loves having those two, and then on top of that, being able to put Jackson Smith and Jibba finally into the lineup. I think he's going to be great. He was great last year with the injuries. He's got a lot of high potential. I expect him to be a pretty vital piece to the offense, as well as Noah Fant. I expect him to break out a little bit more this year. I think his stats are not showcasing exactly what he's about. I think he's a better tight end than people give him credit for. I think he's not bad. So overall, this is kind of his year to break out, to kind of show people that I'm Noah Fant. Like I actually am a really good tight end. At the defensive side of the football, they got a 3-4 base. You got DN, Jerron Reed, who's productive and a veteran. So a productive veteran is always great to see that. He's a leader, and he's going to do everything he can to make sure to cause as much havoc on the D line as possible. D tackle, honestly, Jonathan Hankins right now, but let's be real. This guy is just a fill in as well as a mentor for when Byron Murphy is ready. I think he's going to be ready this year. I think he'll play this year. I think Jonathan Hankins is just kind of like a stepping stone of like, hey man, keep working hard, you'll get this spot. So Jonathan Hankins will play the, you know, the bridge player. So overall, not bad. D end, Leonard Williams, he needs to stay healthy. He's a game wrecker, but he needs to stay healthy. This is one of the oldest D lines in the league, so I mean, health is huge, and for in order for them to win games, they got to stay healthy. So Leonard Williams has to stay healthy. When he's healthy, he's a monster and dominant. So at the linebackers, you got Uchenna Nwosu, who again needs to stay healthy. He's going to be out, I think, 4 to 6 weeks. So I had to put him in there because he's going to play when he comes back. I do like Nwosu. I think he's going to be just fine. I like where he's at. I hope that he goes back to having double-digit sacks though, and being that awesome edge rusher. At the inside, you got Tyrell Dotson. He was in Buffalo, didn't really play as much. This is kind of a prove it thing for him. It's a prove it moment, showcasing that I am a really good inside linebacker. I should be a starter in this league. It's just a good thing for him. Jerome Baker, I think they got another guy who has a chip on his shoulder. He actually plays productively every single year, but no one really gives him credit for. No one really actually like watches him. So I think this should be motivation for him to be like, I need to win. Like I need to ball out. I need to showcase some stuff. It's a great time for him to showcase some stuff. Bowie Mafe at the outside. I think he's gonna break out this year. It's been, you know, a while. I think a few years, I believe, since he got drafted. I think he hasn't really had the time to explode. I think he really does explode this year. I think he's a great pass rusher. I think he'll be just fine. I really do enjoy Boye Mafe. I think he'll be great. At the secondary level, you got Tyreek Woolen, which is seventh, fast for corner, pick artist. I mean, fan tip drill. Overall, great corner. Love it. I'm excited to see what he does on a daily basis this year. Stay healthy. On the other side, they got Brown, who I expect to have a big year. He wasn't bad last year. He just wasn't in a major role. So this is a major role for him. I think he will do well. I just, he's young and a little bit inexperienced. So we'll see how it goes. But I do think he'll do good. Um, at the nickelback spot, you got Devin Witherspoon, who was an honorable mention. He's going to be a killer. He's going to be a guy that really can be a top 10 guy for sure. Does everything so well. And hard hitting corner, man. Hard hitting corner. So overall, this is good. This is a bright spot for Seattle. And their safeties, which I think was a bright spot for him as well. Having Julian Love, he was number 3 on the strong safety list. He's going to free safety. I think he's going to do everything exceptionally well because he does everything exceptionally well. These past 2 years, he's been great in Seattle, so give him that for sure. And then Rayshon Jenkins at strong safety, he was honorable mention for that. Um, Him coming from Jacksonville, he's always been a physical safety. He's always been on almost every play. So he makes himself well known, and I think having him there is going to be huge, especially for a Mike McDonald led defense. He should be great. So Rayshon Jenkins is a really good signing for him. On top of that, they do have Myers, the kicker, who was an honorable mention on the list. He's a solid kicker. Michael Dixon, the punter, he's one of the best punters in the game and in the league. Fantastic punter for sure. Definitely gets him inside the 20, has a leg. And then kicker Turner, Chenault. I mean, can he contribute? You know, I expect him to contribute. He's pretty fast. So this is a good depth chart. It's really not bad. It's just a mix of veteran and projects and guys that just need to prove it. And I think that's great for Seattle. It's a chip on the shoulder, especially with them not going to the playoffs last year. I know they're really wanting that. So Seattle Seahawks schedule, man. Yeah, uh, fantastic schedule. They got a mixture of they play in the West where they have some difficult matchups, and they kind of gave them a roughly easier schedule this year for sure. I definitely think that they have the possibility of winning many games. The white arrows are wins because they could not do green. It's a green and blue team, so that's what I'm doing. So if we're looking at the schedule though, Seattle, they're gonna beat Denver in Seattle week one. Um, yeah, I just feel like Seattle owns Denver. Also, they're in Seattle for the first week. They're gonna play in New England. They'll beat New England. Patriots are not ready for anything. They're gonna be absolutely terrible. They'll lose to the Dolphins and the Lions, but they'll beat the Giants and the Niners. I do believe that they have the firepower to beat the Niners once this year. Um, in Atlanta, I think they're going to lose. Then they'll beat the Bills and the Rams. Bye week, they'll lose in San Fran. They will come back home. They'll beat the Cardinals, lose to the Jets, beat the Cardinals, and then go home and beat the Packers and the Vikings. And then they'll go to Chicago. They'll beat them, which turns out 18 against the Rams in LA. I do believe that the Rams will beat them. So overall, it's an 11-6 record. It's a playoff team. I think they have the talent for that, and I am excited to see what they do with this team and how they go along with it. Um, yeah, I have faith that they can win many games, and this is definitely their time to really showcase that we're still here, and that's great for a rivalry with the Niners Seahawks thing. So